Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Elevate Your Soul podcast. Today, I had so much fun interviewing this beautiful and bubbly woman, Adora Evans. She is the author of Majestic Money, the 30-Day Femme Manifesting Game, one of the producers on the Discovery Channel. She assisted with the movie The Secret and has worked with many celebrities such as Denis Waitley, Nichols, Elaine Hendrix, and Katy Perry. In this episode, Adora gives us her top tips and advice on how to successfully build your own brand, create your own business, and manifest the income you desire. You can check out Adora's work on her website at adoracrystal.com. I hope you guys enjoy this podcast episode. Hello, Adora. Welcome to the Elevate Your Soul podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. First question I have for you is, what elevates your soul?
Oh my gosh, there are so many things. Two words came in my mind at the same time. One was dance, and one was I have a 9-year-old little girl that she elevates me. She's at home still with me every other week, and I could be in any space and she comes in like shimmying or like doing something. If I just pop in her world, I'm like higher, you know?
Love that.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love that. Can you tell me and the listeners a bit about yourself and what you do and why you do what you do?
Yeah, so I am an author, a speaker, a teacher, spiritual teacher. I've spent a lot of my time in the manifesting space, specifically helping women manifest. And that's looked a lot of different ways. One is I have a book coming out about it next week, the 30-Day Femme. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's called Majestic Money, the 30-Day Femme Manifesting Game. But I've also spent time working with women manifesting their life's work, helping them package their message, own their voice. I found over a lot of years that for most women, and I know a lot of great men too, and there are a lot of men that read my work, but I feel called really in a special way to working with women. Yeah. The ability to receive a mate, a job, money, your life's work is totally connected to, do I love myself? Am I at home in my body, in my temple? Is it safe here? Am I enough? It's all that. It's all the same story, different level, in my opinion. And I'm talking, I've been able to work with people that are very well known, that it's still about like, am I enough for this next thing, Yeah.
That's beautiful. I always definitely for me, I believe the self-love is a huge one as well. And I feel like once you have that self-love, it's easier to be self-aware. But I never questioned, do I feel safe in my body? And that is a huge area for me to grow in. So I'm pretty sure if I work on that, I could transform my life quite significantly.
Yeah. I mean, let me know as you start questioning that, how it goes, and I'll send you a copy of the book too to check out. But I love Cleopatra had a room dedicated for makeup in her home. And the reason though is because she believed what we say in such a cliche way, this is my temple. Yeah. So what is a temple? It's a place where God is, where spirit is. And so she saw putting on makeup as an act of magic versus an act of hiding flaws, or it was an act of setting the temple, like lighting the candles and putting the incense out. And so you see how like if you either hate your body or don't feel safe in your body, then the very body that is where spirit lives, this you are God happening, we're God co-creating, right?
Yeah.
Then you're not able to get those inklings. You're not able to trust those inklings. You're not able to, you know, work with those. So I think all of the elements of safety, beauty, love, and appreciation for that temple, it's definitely a key to turning on our magic, you know?
Wow. I really think I'll have a chat with you after. I think you'd work really well with my mom, actually. I think she needs to grow in that area, but she's a coach as well. And she's trying to get into like the whole health and nutrition coaching. And yeah, just from what you're saying, I'm like, oh, it sounds like something my mom needs as well.
Yeah, and I'd love that because I'm passionate about fitness and health. Like it's so important to my well-being and the way I feel. Yeah. And I think it's really important for people to be healthy, but from the space of I love myself. So we need more health and fitness coaches that are grounded in, hey, we're doing this because we love our bodies and we want to make the most of them, not because we hate them and we're fighting the next wrinkle, pimple, cellulite, fat pocket that's going to come, you know?
Yeah, such a different energy. No, I hear you 100%. Yeah, I'm going to work out because I'm afraid to get fat, or I'm going to work out so I can eat more. I'm going to work out because I'm going to work out because I get mental clarity, because it helps me be creative, because it makes me feel good, you know, and also just doing a workout that you enjoy doing. Some people do not enjoy the type of workout they do. I'm like, change it then.
Yeah.
That you actually enjoy doing in the moment.
Yeah. Well, and I have booty goals and I have aesthetic, like I love beauty. I like creating art with my body. But the point is I do it from like, this is my masterpiece. How far can I take it? Not because I hate it or I'm trying to, you know what I mean? It's a totally different thing.
Well, same with you can see with my like purple hair and tattoos, it's not like, oh, I don't hate my body, but I love that as well. I'm very artistic and I'm creative. I'm like, ooh, this is just like a canvas, a blank canvas. Like, what can I do? What can I paint on it? What can I create with it?
Yeah, that's beautiful. You're like Cleopatra to another level. Like, what am I going to align with and how am I going to, decorate the temple? I love it. I love it. Yeah. And to me, it's so important. I'll give you one more because it's, you know, there are a lot of things about manifesting out there. Yeah. And for me, the reason I talk about femme manifesting, and I hope this, you hear this fully because most women haven't thought of it this way, is that as women, we are the original portals for for something from spirit world to come and live, and then it walks as a freaking physical reality. Like, take that in, right? I almost cussed there. I like took it in just in case. But it's like, we're the original portals. And so in our bodies, the codes for manifesting reality from spirit into physical, it's our nature. And yet most women are disconnected from their bodies and from those codes, right? Yeah. And then many of us have been taught beautiful manifesting tips, tricks, and they work because we all have feminine and masculine, right? But most of them have been taught by men who see it from predominantly their masculine view. And then the women, we take it on, we get a result with it. So then we drive, make it happen. And you're exhausted, burnt out, depleted. And still, even if you're rocking that and figured out your perfect rhythms, until you really like sink into your own machinery that you came with, your feminine ways of, we're the receivers, like whether you're gay, straight, or whatever, if you're going to make a baby, right? I'm just talking about our nature, the way we're physically designed. The male enters the woman, or however, if it's insemination, the seed is planted through entering, and the woman receives. She receives, right? And then, so it's really quite powerful. Yeah. And I'm excited to get to be a portal for that message to the world, because it's about women, loving and receiving themselves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a question that popped up in my head as you were saying a lot of women are disconnected to that. Do you feel that women with a relationship with their womb, has to do with how they manifest? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The relationship with their genital area and their whole womb area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the womb is the area of creation, right? So if you're shut down there, your creative energy is shut off. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, and when you look at our Me Too movement, and you add to that domestic, violence, you add to that cultural shame around sexuality, sensuality, confusion between the two, right, as well. You add body dramas, insecurities and we have made a lot of major moves in that ground, and I do believe like it's evident that we're rising and that we're becoming aware, and I'm just really happy to be a part of that, because it's not like a big thing you have to battle, like most women go, oh my gosh, I get that, yeah, I want to sit with that,
Yeah, I strive for equality, definitely, as well. Can I ask you what the difference between influence and income is, and if or how they correlate with one another?
Yeah. I'm going to take a drink of water. Is that all right? I'm like, drink that in. Yeah, your cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, I think they definitely correlate. I mean, income is not just financial well-being. I remember there was a period of my life where, and I just will give you a little backstory. I was 18, living in a boarded up shack with no electricity when I first had instead of paying for my rent, I paid for an Herbalife distributor kit. I'm not in Herbalife now or any network marketing company, but with my Walkman, and that tells you I'm, of a certain age that I had a Walkman, but cassette tape, I listened to Jim Rohn, and something Jim Rohn said changed everything for me. And he said, it was basically, you love Jim Rohn? Yeah, he's like, it doesn't matter where you are headed in some direction. You're in a sailboat, you're going to arrive eventually at a destination based on where you're headed. And he was like, the good news is if you don't like where you're headed, you can set your sail in a new direction and you will eventually arrive. And he was like, how do you do it? You get mentors, so I went on a crazy path, and it was an awakening path for me, learning to self-develop like at that level. And I got to work with celebrities. I worked on the movie The Secret. I went on, I got to do so many things that came from really applying these things that we know. And the greatest, work for me was that kind of coming home. So one of those careers, going back to income, I manifested as part of my compensation. So I was working on red carpets, and I was working with a designer who dressed Prince his entire career. And when I first moved there, I was living with Elaine Hendrix, an actress who was a stepmom in Parent Trap. Yeah. But and so while I was,
I know the one. Oh, yeah, too. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, she's doing a bunch of other things. But and so, when I first worked with a designer, my ability to ask for a certain amount of money was really blocked because I grew up a certain way, right? So but my internal being had grown so much from all the things I was reading and allowing and practicing. So part of that stepping stone was part of my compensation. Even though I wasn't paid, I was paid like $2 or $3 a month. I can't even remember. But my compensation was a house that I lived in on Melrose and Sweetser. My roommate was a former keyboardist in the Gap band, which is even older than me. And a tarot card reader who's amazing. And also I was wearing designed for me clothes daily, including like $20,000 outfits, going on red carpets. The person who was taking, so I had all these other ways that I was receiving income, right? Resource, even though it wasn't actual financial money. A few years later, I manifested working with a designer who did Philip Stein Tesla watches. She was on Oprah a few times. She was working with the Dalai Lama. And when I worked with her, again, my income wasn't huge. It was like $4 or $5 grand a month. But I was living in a penthouse on the beach with a maid, a chef, a company car, a hot tub, like my own private hot tub on the roof, and like this beautiful gym. And so again, I was like, oh, why can't I bring the money in? But my
where was that? Where were you living at the time?
That was Sunny Isles, Florida.
Florida, beautiful.
North Miami Beach.
Florida, LA. That's interesting. I'll just mention as well, I feel we're very similar in that way. I feel like I've got the manifestation down to manifest these experiences and manifest luxury experiences and things like that, but actually like the physical money coming into my bank account, that's something I need to work.
That's next. I mean, I have chills all over. Look, when you're sharing that, that's so aligned. Wow. Yeah, that's coming next. And I just want to say to you, like, it is part of the process. Like when you're shifting the reality, like celebrate what you're bringing in and put a dollar value to that and see that, like, yes, because you can't pay to be able to go on red carpets. You can't pay for some of the experiences that you've had, that I've had. So start to see that as, and list it down. What is that financially worth? And you know who changed it for me? I had a coach once, and I was telling her, man, I can't get past this. And she was like, Adora, I lived in Washington, and I had lots of friends that went to school they were full PhDs or, you know, doctorate level people that went to college for politics and took jobs where they earned $20,000 a year in order to work closely with these big name politicians. Wow. And so she was like, they gave up the access. That's what really intelligent people do. And she said, that's what you've done. You've manifested all this stuff and you exchange it to get everything that you want. And now you're just ready to create it through your own hands. Wow. Like you've been the recipient, but you want to feel that. Yeah, so I'm saying the same thing to you, Aurel. Yeah, that's it. And it has, like, my bank account has been so blessed. I consistently earn more than I ever have, but I also don't block receiving however it wants to come, because sometimes it's so much grander and less complex for the universe just to go, well, here, let me just skip all that and give you that. And I think we've just got to get better at celebrating that and not negating, right? Like, but it's not, yeah, you know?
Interesting. And does influence have to do with earning income?
I think so, definitely. But let me be clear, the influence first starts with you and the influence that you're having on yourself. Like you're your number one fan, your number one coach, your number one, like, I got you, you know, all of that. And really, like, influence, it's not about, yes, influencer status is one thing because you have a huge network and then you're able to, like, but it's not just that. Influence is like, go study communication skills. Yeah. Learn, first of all, be as authentic as you possibly can with yourself. Yeah. Because the more you can speak your own truth and be yourself, then people in your presence, they feel your sincerity. They feel, and that creates this kind of at ease rapport that happens because there's no fake agenda. Like I remember in my younger years, I got to speak for all these chiropractors, and I was like, and I got to speak for the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and I was like 24 or something. I'd been a stripper a few years before. I was trying to bury that I'd ever been a stripper, right? So I'm putting on all this like heavy makeup and like boxy clothes to try to look older. And it's like, no, you know, be who you are. And the more you're in your own heart, in your own truth, that already takes away 10 layers of things. So you have more influence with the people around you, because if people aren't at ease around you, you can't influence them, right?
Yeah.
Then the other thing is the influence of back to your own self-influence. Like if you don't know what you want, you can't influence the environment. Like when I went from stripper to producer on the Discovery Channel, it wasn't because I knew somebody from the, I got like some kind of, it was because I sat down and went, if I could do anything, what do I want to do? And I thought I was reading Think and Grow Rich at the time. And I thought I'd love to be able to interview successful people like Napoleon Hill did. And I'd love to be paid for it. And then the universe brought it, when I went to LA, I had already had a vision. When I became a writer, well, let me just talk about the Miami one. So in Miami, I was kind of feeling it was time to transition out of LA. Yeah. In the plane, I wrote down this big, here's where I want to go next with my life. And when I was in LA, I met that designer and she was like, come work here. I could have never imagined it. I did not have a college education, still don't. I went a couple years, dropped out. But if you don't influence your own brain to say, where do I want to go? And then therefore influence the universe to begin to work some things in your favor, you're missing the boat. And then the last thing is like, go get education skills, not just about, learn to be an influencer online, learn to build your database, learn to do all that, learn podcasting skills, learn all that stuff. But learn basic things like personality types, not labeling anyone, but like learn, active listening, learn how to.
What type of personality types do you study? What do you know?
Oh my gosh, I've studied so many, everything from like the 4 colors, red, blue, disc, to Ingrams, to like horoscopes. Like I study everything,
Human design?
I have done my human design, and one of my dear friends, Deborah, do you love it?
Yeah, I'd love to know what you are. I think you might be a projector, which is what I am. But
I'm going to check, and I'm going to send it to you after. So you're a projector?
I'm a projector, yeah. And then there's also another thing that I'm obsessed with is in Ayurveda, there's this thing called the doshas. And 1 out of the 3, the fire, the earth, and the air. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of it. I read it so long, at one point I wanted to go like do Ayurvedic medicine, as a thing, but I've forgotten. I think I have some fire, but fire
definitely within you. Yeah, you're definitely Pitta.
What about you? What is your dosha?
I'm my main one. So we're all 3, but we just have different like amounts and different levels of each 3. But my main one is air. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. With that, and see, that's so valuable because when you understand how to communicate, it's like communication is a very loving thing to do. It's not just about power and influence, which those will come definitely if you learn those things because you have rapport, you're in your heart. So then, but when you learn to listen well, to read the room well, to communicate well, you're receiving people better. And so you're received better. And I think it was Dean Graziosi I heard say, and I loved it, that people don't buy from you. And I'm talking about, I'm going to insert buy ideas, that they should take you on a date, buy where you want to take them. They don't buy into anything. They don't buy when they understand you. They buy when they feel understood, like
that's a good one. Yeah.
So that's like the value to me of communication. And I definitely think that they are impacted, that if you know how to influence the world around you and influence others, or you create your, whether it's showing up online, sharing your voice, attracting your soul tribe, or however you choose to do it, it's definitely correlates with income. And it takes some asking and some creative, some ability to receive some work. Like I remember a lot of years where I was influencing, and people would say, well, what can I do for you? And I'd be like, I don't know. Yeah. And I wouldn't, like I wouldn't ask. So you do need to ask and learn those skills of asserting and asking for what you want. But it starts with like, do you know what you want? Right?
I feel like a lot of those skills you're talking about, like learning to be authentic, be yourself, read people, like so people can feel safe around you, all that stuff. I feel like it's important to study those things, but I feel like at the base of that, you need a certain amount of self-love and self-awareness, because when you have self-love and
100%.
self-awareness, then you have the courage to be authentic. And then when you have awareness,
100%.
you have the awareness to read other people's energy and what they may be feeling. So
100%. Like that's like the baseline of my entire life's work. And when I say my life's work, it's only my life's work because it's what it took to take care of me, right? And so now I happily share, like, none of the skills, techniques, nothing, not the house, the $1 million home. There's nothing that's going to give you what you want sustainably without the self-love. And you're less likely to even get the things that you want ever, even for a short period of time, without some self-love, big time self-love. And so, and it's that whole thing that you can only give what you have anyway. So if you're not aligned and congruent, like, you got to be all that here. And no one's perfect. It's all work in progress, right? I saw Louise Hay before she died at 83, still working on herself. She was still working on herself. And I get to work with Denis Waitley. He's 86. He's still learning and working on himself, right? So, like, but that is the base. I couldn't agree more. You're so right.
yeah, wow, that's so amazing. You've worked with so many amazing people. I know those people too. I love Louise Hay, Denis Waitley. That's amazing. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you about that you feel called to mention?
No. To go check out the book, everyone. There's going to be the month of May. It'll be on Kindle as low as 99 cents.
Wow.
The Kindle version, Majestic Money, the 30-day Femme Manifesting Game.
I love that. And how can people get in touch with you online?
Oh, great question. AdoraCrystal.com is perfect. Or, on Instagram, Adora's Groove, Adora Crystal on Facebook.
Okay. Beautiful. Perfect. I will link those, like Facebook and Instagram, in the show notes as well.
Yay.
Hey, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I love your energy and your fire. And,
I love your energy. It's so good. I love it. It's so uplifting. Hey YouTube fam, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button below. And if you think a friend, a family member, or just someone you know who could benefit from this podcast episode, please share this video with them. And if you've been enjoying the Elevate Your Soul podcast, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for new episodes weekly. Thank you.